There are so many government incentives right now encouraging people to go and buy their first home. My views on this have been sort of scaled towards one side, and I really want to illustrate that in this video. What I want you to take away from this and really approach this with an open mind, because it might test a few boundaries for you, is that there are currently so many government incentives in place encouraging people to really go out and purchase their own property. I'm going to share with you my views on why I don't think this is the best way to go about it, whether it's from a purchasing my first property perspective or that you really want to live in your own home. I think there are other ways to do this, but I'm not going to hide behind it. This is no clickbait. I genuinely think that the government incentives are a scam. The first home buyer schemes are a scam, and I want to, showcase that and for you to make that own decision for yourself, whether it's the right move for you moving forward, or is there other options that you can really take on. If you're interested, keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because you know you want to. And on this video, I talk about real estate, cryptocurrency, and financial freedom. So if you can drop the like, it would support the channel and it really shares these videos out to the people that really need it. Now in this video, I want to dissect what a grant is, what a scheme is, and what the government is really trying to play here. I'm not one of those guys that shares negativity for the sake of sharing negativity for a few views. I'm also not the type of guy that sits there with a conspiracy, tinfoil hat on either. I just want to share with you some logic. And if you feel like this still makes sense to you, then go for it. I mean, you're living your best life, I'll live my best life. But I just thought it's very interesting to get this point out because I do get asked this quite a bit. And so I've been meaning to make this video, here it is. So what are these grants and schemes? Well, look, let's just simplify it. They're basically incentives in place by the Australian government to encourage people like yourself to go out there and purchase your own home first. Now, why is this a scam, Ravi? If they're giving us free money, I mean, what am I missing here? Well, the thing is, there's no free lunches, right? So why are they trying to get people to purchase their own home? So let's just deep dive into it and really understand it. Now, if they're going out there, and by them, the Australian government is going out there and saying, look, housing affordability is shit. We understand that. So here's some free money, right? A bit of a bonus, a helping hand to get you started. But in order to get started, you can only purchase a place that is within these parameters, and each state is different, so definitely go check that out. But you're only able to purchase something in between these numbers. And not only that, but it might have to be a particular type of property. So it might have to be a new property. It might have to be located in a certain area. It can't be located in a high dense area, things like that, right? So there's a few, circumstances that need to come into play, conditions rather, around what you can purchase and can't purchase to get the grants. Now, the truth is, I agree, housing affordability is shit. It was a lot easier to purchase a house, say 10 years ago than it is today. So I can see how these grants really come across like they're helping, but are they really? At the end of the day, if you go out and purchase your own property, the way that I see it is there's a misconception around buying a property and thinking it's an asset. Let's not get this wrong, right? Let's get some real logic behind it. If the property you've purchased takes money out of your pocket, that is not an asset. It's a liability, okay? It's the same way you'd buy a car, it takes money out of your pocket, it loses value, it's a liability. Now, the counter argument to that is, well, the house that I bought goes up in value, well then it's giving me a return, so then it's considered an asset, right? Yes, technically, but from a cash flow perspective, which means, what I can see today, it's a liability. When we're trying to figure out whether buying a house is a good investment, let's just take a step back before we do that. Because when we go out there and purchase our house, we've got unproductive debt. So yes, you can argue about, it's an asset or it's a liability. What we can't argue about is it's unproductive debt. What I mean by that is when you go and purchase a property, it doesn't provide you a cash flow. You are basically living in there. And yes, now you don't have to pay rent. But what does this actually mean? I don't think too many people understand this. Now, if you do understand it, awesome. Drop a like for the video and we can continue. But if you don't understand this, let's just get some education around it. If it's unproductive debt that's attached to your home, that means you don't really have any tax deductibles, you don't have some tax incentives there, and you're also holding onto a property that the bank doesn't view the same way as they view debt across a productive asset being an investment. So if you go out there and invest into an investment property for say $400,000, or you go out there and you purchase a place for yourself, the bank does not view these two debts the same way because the cash flow component, the cash flow that I'm getting, the gearing that I'm getting, so any tax benefits that I'd be getting from there as well, is different to me purchasing my own place. So why am I calling this a scam? It sounds pretty good so far. If I've got a property, I don't have to pay rent, I've got my own house, who cares what the banks see it as? Well, the reality is, a lot of people are purchasing property because they think it's the right thing to do. They're trying to get ahead of their finances. That's why we're buying property. It's either certainty, so an emotional reaction going, I know I want to live here and I don't want to be kicked out, I want to hang things on my wall, or it's the fact that you want to get financially ahead. And to get financially ahead, you need to stop paying rent, because we got told rent is dead money, right? It's a bad thing. And so you end up taking on debt, which is considered also a bad thing, but hey, if it's the lesser of two evils, I'm taking on unproductive debt and buying my own house. Oh, and you know what? In order for me to do this, I've also got a helping hand, because the government's also going to give me money and waive some stamp duty. Now, after having more than 300 strategy sessions, I've found a particular trend across most people that I have a conversation with, and it's that they buy property too emotionally. Now, they're buying property, which is just another financial tool, but they're buying it with emotion. They don't go out there and they purchase ETFs or shares the same way. Even if they're going out there and buying Bitcoin or Cardano or Ethereum, they're not going out there with emotion to purchase, but when it comes to their house, they're purchasing emotionally. Now, what happens when you purchase emotionally, especially when it comes to financial tools? It doesn't end so well. So people are going out there, and you might be one of these people. You get attracted to the fact that I'm getting some money, I'm getting some schemes, and they're helping me get into the property ladder. Purchase something that I'm emotionally attached to, because the reality is, in order for you to get the grant, you got to live in there. And yes, I know people are going to say, well, I purchased it to get the grants, now it's an investment, so sucks to be you, Ravi. Well, the reality is you still got to live there for 6 months. So you're telling me that when you walk through that house, or if you bought off the plan and you're looking at that apartment, you're going, no, I don't care what it looks like. As long as it hits those numbers and I'm looking at this logically, as long as there's rental demand, there's a shortage of supply, it's scarce, and it hits all my other metrics that I look for when I'm investing into property, yeah, I'm gonna live in there, I don't care. No, I don't think so. You've got such a large amount of emotion attached to that one purchase. It means that when you decide to even turn it around to become an investment afterwards, you might have just invested into an area that actually has no growth for the next 6 to 12 months, even more than that. You not only have that issue, but you also don't have rental demand in the area. And so now you're not really stuck with a property that's a great asset. You've actually purchased a property that you got attracted to because you got what, an extra $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 as a benefit. But in reality, what's the opportunity cost? And this is where I want you to really listen, is if you can purchase a property and that you go, well, I'm getting, say, benefits of about $30,000. Okay, great. So you've now purchased a property, but over the next 12 months, it doesn't grow at all. In fact, it just stays stable. Let's not take into account that it might go the other way, which, you know, I've had conversations with people where they have purchased and the values have gone the other way. So they go out and you purchase a property for $400,000, it stays the same, but you got the benefits of about $30,000 and you're happy. Or you go out there and you invest into an area that actually makes sense logically. You go out there and yes, you're still renting somewhere else. By here, you're getting, say, 10% growth, so you're getting further ahead. Not only that, but you get the cash flow component, so you're not forking out money from your own pocket to go and do that. Yes, still forking out money to go and rent, but you're now rent vesting. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And that's why I say to you guys, look, don't just get attracted to the glitz and glamour of, yes, that's the first property I found, the government supports me and it's all great. At the end of the day, there are other options. And I've said on this channel before that I'm not someone who focuses on the traditional way of investing. I like to have a balanced approach. I like to have happiness as my North Star, and I don't want to work so hard during my 20s because I want to enjoy my life. So that could apply to you in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, right? Nobody wants to do this by working extra hard. Yes, you've got to put in some hard work, but why are you making it harder for yourself? Really just understand and educate yourself about this. Buying a home just because you got some incentives is not good enough. You need to look underneath and figure out, if I can use that money to purchase something else, are my returns after 12, 24, 36 months better? And that's going to outweigh you just getting a few incentives. I think personally, the reason why the incentives are in place and the reason why there's particular conditions in place is because they need developers to keep developing property. Now, if they keep developing property, well, the government makes more money on the, stamp duty and all the payments that they make. The economy keeps moving. So then the developer goes out, builds out 3,000 units. How are they going to sell the 3,000 units? Well, let's put a price point on it. That's attractive, but it also sits within the conditions. Maybe the conditions are met so that they can entice people to go and purchase these properties. But either way, it doesn't matter. You are making a decision emotionally. At the end of the day, you've really just got to ask yourself, why? Is it that you don't want to pay rent because someone said it was dead money? Well, that's an outside opinion. You need to get some context around it in relation to your own lifestyle, because hey, renting could work out really well for people if they don't know where they want to live. What's the mistake that they make is I go out there, purchase a place in an area I think I want to live in, but now I've purchased emotionally a property that may not perform well over the next 12 months. My money's stuck in it and real estate's not liquid, right? So you've still got to wait before you can offload it. And so these are the things that I don't think people are considering. Large majority of people are falling for this scam, which is what the government, grants and schemes are. Now, there's a portion of people that will really take advantage of this. And to you guys, amazing, keep doing what you're doing. But for a large majority of people, especially after doing so many strategy sessions, so many emails, and replying to so many comments here, I've realized there is a pattern. We are falling into this scam. We are falling into this debt trap. This isn't going to work out well for us. We are basically at the point of handcuffs. Now we have to work in order for us to hold that property. But see, if I wanted to now downgrade, if I wanted to just go, you know what, I need to save extra money, what are you gonna do? You've purchased in a location that may not have the rental demand, so you can just go, I'll move out, I'll put some tenants in there. No, you can't do that, because I didn't think of that when I was purchasing the property. And so instead, if you were to go out and rent vest, you could have the property, it services itself, right? The cash flow comes in, helps itself. It's in a popular location, so you know the demand is there from both an owner-occupier perspective, which really leads to that capital growth, but also the rental demand's there, meaning you've always got the cash flow. Now, in this part of your life, you can have the freedom to do what you like. You can sign a 6-month lease, you can sign a 12-month lease, you can move from one state to the other state, and it's a fantastic place to be. What more people need to have a conversation about is, rather than focusing on what everyone else thinks and having the government give you these free money, focus on what's important to you. Really take a moment and see what's happiness mean for you. If that's peace of mind, not having debt attached to a property, well then don't do that. If that means that you're sort of falling behind because you haven't taken your finances properly, well, book in a strategy session or really figure out and educate yourself as to how you can keep up and take advantage of financial freedom in the near future.
That could be, hey, I don't need to live in the property, I can just invest strategically and do it that way.
There are plenty of options out there, and it just doesn't mean you need to go out and buy real estate. There are other asset classes that you need to educate yourself with. I think the biggest thing I want you to take away from this video is just don't fall for the trap of a government scheme and I get incentives because I get some free money. At the end of the day, it's great when properties are all going up in price, but what happens when your property isn't the one going up in price? What happens when you lose your job and now you can't live in that property? Well, if you don't think about these things, the reality is it might only be the 1% that have to face it, but the 1% get so turned off it and get, fall so far behind that financial freedom is never a thing as part of their financial future in moving forward. So take what you will from it. These are my perspective. 7 years ago, there were more grants available and I never fell for it. I was like, this seems like a scam. This seems wrong. And so for me, it's worked out quite well. Obviously, I invested quite well over time, but I want you to just start questioning what it is that is really out there and what sort of options you have available to yourself. I think you'll be really surprised when you get the education in there. Be completely logical, put both on an Excel sheet, really figure out what those numbers look like, and I think you'll be surprised. If you have enjoyed this video, drop a thumbs up for the video and share it with someone that I think really needs to hear it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.